There's an expression in Hebrew that the chut hameshulash lo bimheira yinatek, that this cord or this chain is not broken easily. And I suppose two things operate here. Is my sense that I don't want to be the one to break the chain, and there's also the sense that I have a great pride in this chain and in this tradition that I am part of.
My mother was very much a product of the 50s and a traditional Jewish upbringing.
Having a daughter herself in 1967, a time when women were starting to find voice, galvanized my mother to get more active.
And that was, I think, the beginning of the journey. It was a personal one initially. How do I raise daughters? But that led to questions about women's role in shul, about women's role in the community.
Victoria and Amanda used to say, why can't we finish the service like the boys do? So Belda and I found this crazy women's minyan up on 100-something street, and rain or shine, freezing cold, once a month we would take them up there. I remember they met in the basement. You could hear the toilet flushing, but we took them back and forth because we started to understand something new.
Just after I was born, my mother decided that she was going to find a woman to lecture and teach women to be more assertive and record it and sell it on a tape for people to listen to. She heard about this woman at CUNY. She took her out for tea at the plaza, and when this woman said no, she said, thumb wrestle me, and if I win, you'll consider it. This woman, she said, was this big woman, and she won the thumb wrestle, and she said, you see, I look small, but I'm not puny, and my idea isn't puny either.
When she became convinced that the particular rules were unfair in the society in which we live, and that the world had evolved, it was time for us, the Jewish community, to do so as well.
She wanted to fight the fight in her community and maintain the basic value structures of that community, but still getting women what they deserve.
She never considered, as far as I know, ever leaving Orthodoxy, even though people used to say to her, just be a conservative Jew, what's the big deal? But she knew that what was right, and that the halakha and that the system, that our society must conform to what was right. And that if it wasn't, it was not God's fault, it was human beings' fault.
We were in a shul in Israel, and they start walking out before we said Kaddish. She yells down from the balcony, Kaddish! And the rabbi said, Ostagidi, so say it. She said, well, answer it.
She had the ability to speak truth to power. She was not intimidated.
In this life, if you want to accomplish something, you have to break some eggs and ruffle feathers.
We would laugh about her finger, because she didn't care if she was talking to the chief rabbi of somebody or the president of the United States. This finger would come out. I remember I would kind of push it in, like, put it back.
She was on the board of Jewish Education. She was the president of the American Friends of Bar Ilan University, B'nai Akiva. And then she read Blue Greenberg's book on women in Judaism. That energized her, and she started learning at Drisha. And then one day, Blue decided that there had to be a conference. My mother said, do you think anyone will come? Over 1,000 people came to this conference. The excitement was palpable, and everyone kept saying, I thought I was the only person who felt this way. Then the conference planners came together and said, this means we need an organization. And JOFA was born, with Blue Greenberg as its president and my mother as a vice president. Before my mother passed away, she had told us very clearly that she wanted to give a gift, a significant gift to SIR High School. And actually Rabbi Harkstark brought up Machon Siach and the idea that he had been germinating for a long time. And we all kind of leapt at it. We thought it was such an innovative idea that we had never heard of before, tackling subject matters that most parents, frankly, in schools and institutions somewhat shy away from, and taking them on head on.
We're going to go over in just a moment
Machon Siach is an attempt to give teachers a public voice and to give them an opportunity to research large questions that are of importance for the Jewish community and the educational community in its broader sense. High school is really the nexus between generations and communities at a particularly potent moment in students' lives. You have kind of the community, the parents, teachers, the next generation. It all comes together in a particular culture, and there's a lot that needs to be thought about in terms of engaging that most purposefully. And Machon Siach is an attempt to give teachers the opportunity to do that.
So I'm part of the sexuality group, and what we've been thinking about is how we help cultivate an ethic around sexuality for our students. How do we talk to our students about cultivating a sexual ethic that they can be proud of, that they can feel committed to, that is motivated by values that we believe in?
What Machon Siach is attempting to do, something that I believe that Belda would identify with very strongly, and I consider it to be a great honor to have Belda's name associated with this program.
I think my grandmother would be extremely happy with the gift she left behind. I can say, my grandmother started this, my grandmother worked for this, and I now think it's my responsibility, not only as her granddaughter, but as a part of the modern Orthodox community, to continue her work and to keep pushing and to keep building future roads and pavements and pathways for generations that will come after me.
You make baby steps, it's exhausting. And my sister often says, why do you keep doing this? And I say, it's just that I won't leave the street. I'm not climbing into the gutter. If they want to do things, they have to walk around me. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to change it.